Evening. Happy Friday. I hope you guys had a good trading session today as well as a good trading week. As you guys can see, I ended today positive. So I ended up positive 4 out of the 5 sessions this week, which makes me really happy. That was my biggest goal. I really wanted to be positive every single day, but that's okay. 4 out of 5 is good. I'm not going to lie, I did cheat just a little bit to end up positive today. Towards the end of the stream, I was negative like $18 and some change. I think I was just break even minus commissions. And the very next trade that I ended up taking won. That was the trade at 1038. I won it and I said on stream I was done because I just wanted to hit my goal of being positive for the week. You guys know that I am not someone who stops trading because I reach a certain profit or loss, whether it's plus 200 or negative 600, it does not matter. I am someone who wants to take every single valid setup in this session because I feel like that's the only way to truly know your statistical edge and how well your strategy works. However, I wanted to end up positive, so that's just what I did. And to be honest with you, I still would have ended up positive even if I took the remaining trades anyway, so it wasn't really a big deal. So today I ended up 3 wins, 2 losses, and 2 break evens. You can see towards the bottom of the screen that my gross profit was $125. You subtract the $27 in commissions, and you end up with the remaining $97.14. So just to show you all, I did end up positive for the week and I'm happy. For me, I think the biggest reason why I really just wanted to end positive, just not even from like helping me with my confidence, is that last week was the first week after my major overhaul of my strategy and becoming more volume based as far as my strategy goes and my trading goes. And last week, because it was the first week after the major overhaul, there was just a lot of lessons that needed to be learned last week. There was a lot of adjustments that I needed to make. So this week, I didn't have to make as many adjustments. I had to make some, but not as many. So I'm just happy that even though earlier this week I did take trades that I wasn't supposed to be in, missed a bunch of trades and things like that, especially yesterday with all of the volatility, I'm just glad that overall my strategy shows that I made the right adjustments. Now, in my weekly, I think I'm going to do the first week in my trade journal video. It'll probably be out Sunday. And that is where I'll go over like what my overall wins and losses, break evens, and all of that was for the week, what it was actually and what it should have been based on all of the adjustments that I've made this week. And I definitely want to go through that as well. So let me stop rambling and go to the charts so I can show you all the trades today. So even though volume and volatility was here a little bit today, I just did not have the patterns that I was looking for until I got on the stream, which is really weird. I usually have at least a couple of trades before I get on stream, and today there were none. So here was the first trade that I took on stream, and just the first trade period that was valid for my setup. You can see that that one ended up losing. Then coming across, the very next trade was a win, just simple divergence. So this particular trade I questioned because it wicked off of my middle level that was sitting here at the time. And typically when one of my other setups where I like there's a lower high to a higher low and then it, goes from there. I can't take the trade if it wicks off of my middle level going in because, yeah, I just can't. But because this one was a higher low to a higher high, or no, a higher high to a higher low, I'm sorry. That one I believe will continue to be valid because it's just a different volume pattern when it comes to that. So I'm not quite sure, but I questioned it. That's why I didn't get into it. But that one actually would have won. Even if I would have set my stop loss to break even once it hit the current open and prior close, it still would have won it. It never came back down. So this particular trade here, I didn't miss this one. I just didn't take it because the entry was only 2 ticks away from the middle VWAP level, which is where I always move my stop loss to break even. It did, excuse me, end up pushing through it and winning, but I just didn't feel like being bothered. And if you actually watch the stream around this time, about 9:25 in the morning, as soon as it hit the level, it bounced up, came pretty close to my stop loss. So my stop loss would have been, let's see, 71, 7. My stop loss would have been like 72.50, and it came up to 71.50. So it was only 4 ticks away from stopping me out. It just wasn't worth the headache for me. All right, so here's the next trade that I got into, just a simple trend continuation. It was a pullback to my middle level. This trade right here, I didn't get into because I questioned, and I'm glad that I did. And the reason why I questioned this is because it was my typical 1 bar pullback. That wasn't the issue. The issue was it wicked off of this major resistance level and did not close right above it. Had it closed above it, I probably would have gotten into it. I can't be quite sure. But the biggest thing is with this particular support and resistance indicator, so there's the middle pivot level. There's the first support level. This creates like a zone, technically. And so this particular zone, when you think about it, because it's a zone, it just wicked off of the top of the zone level but didn't close above it. So I just didn't feel comfortable, and I'm glad I didn't take it. I would have lost. All right, so moving on. This was a divergence trade, just simple counter trend. Ended up losing right after I got a valid trade for the sale. And as you can see, it ended up breaking even. It hit the VWAP and popped back up. Now, this is one of those situations where I had positive slippage because my entry was actually supposed to be at 31.50, but my entry ended up being at 32.75. So those extra ticks that it pushed back to actually hit my entry that was down here because of I guess it was just a volume spike, it ended up helping me because again, I would have lost. So that was that. This particular setup I questioned as well, and I probably will have to just look. I don't have to do extensive back testing for this, but this is kind of similar to kind of sometimes what happens with the volume patterns when I'm going towards a double top or double bottom. So if this was a double bottom, selling towards it. So I think that this would end up being valid, and I'll probably, like I said, just look over it over the weekend. And it did end up winning, and I think it'll consistently win as well. So this particular trade here was actually invalid, and I'm glad that it ended up breaking even on its own. I didn't even move my stop loss to break even, but as I was going through writing the trade in my trade journal, I said, oh my gosh, that actually was invalid. That could have been a disaster, but it wasn't. Thank goodness. All right, so this trade right here, I was actually waiting on, and I started looking in the Discord because people were talking about the Rhythmic accounts not updating in the Apex dashboard. And as I was reading it, I honestly just spaced out because I saw in the corner of my eye that, the price was moving up, but I just spaced out, and I was waiting for this setup. I was waiting for it to clear my major level. It did. I missed it, and that was that. So coming across, this was the last trade that I took before I said I'm not trading anymore, and that one ended up winning, as you guys can see. And then here are the trades that I missed, or not missed, but didn't take thereafter. So that would have been a loss. This was a win, and then another win. This trade actually, I would have gotten out at 11 o'clock. Because my session ends at 11. So even if I'm in a trade, I don't want to trade past 11. And as you guys can see, right after 11 o'clock, it would have spiked up, hit my stop loss to the tick, and then went and took profit. So had I continued trading, I would have ended up with 2 more wins, a loss, and a break even. So I would have been a little bit more in profit, but that is all good. So overall, like I said, I had 3 wins, 2 losses, 2 break evens. I should have been, 6 wins, 3 losses, and 3 break evens for a profit of $327.24. So let me show you the accounts dashboard. So this is where we are. I just gained a little bit. I can't remember. Let me go back. This is why I write things down every day. So I started the week with drawdown of $624.31. it peaked this week at $875.83. That was after Wednesday's session, and then we lost $261 yesterday, so that brought it down to 614, and we got back up to 711. So one of my other goals this week was to not blow this count, because I knew that I wouldn't be adding any more accounts until next week, and we met that goal as well. So I'm really happy with this week. Some annoyances, absolutely, but I feel like my strategy is pretty stable at this point. Like I said, might be a couple of adjustments, and there are some other things that I do want to look at to possibly add to the strategy that won't take away from what I'm doing, and I won't have to think very hard about it either. It's just something to add, additional entries in case of times like earlier where that first third almost 40 minutes I didn't have any setups based on my usual patterns that I'm looking for. So that is the update for today. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for watching the live associated with this video if you have already. If you haven't, I'll make sure that that's linked up in the iCards if I haven't linked it already. And yeah, I hope you guys had a good trading week. I will see you guys next week bright and early on no, not Monday. Monday is a holiday. On Tuesday morning. Have a good weekend.